Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Suburban Stone Age. Today's video is about site selection. If you're curious about buying some vacant land in the desert and you're looking to make choices about what to buy and what not to buy, I'm going to step you through my decision-making process and why I chose this particular piece of land, and maybe that will help you get clarity on what you're looking for. So what you're looking at now is our property. It's 2.5 acres, approximately. It's just under 2.5 acres. And the rough property lines are a little bit farther up from where I'm standing. You can see the 2 telephone poles in the distance. That's the corners. And you can see that a lot of the property is actually on a hill. So I have to be honest with you. When I first came to look at the property, I rejected it. I didn't like that it was on a hill and the roads were bad. I couldn't really get a car up here. And I have footage from before I bought the property. It has basically been vacant since the 60s, since the 1960s. So, we're talking like 50, 60 years here. And a lot of erosion had taken place. There was just a vacant broken down cement pad. There was a fire that had burned down the little wooden building that was here. One of the telephone poles up in the middle of the property had been burned down and had been removed. So there was not a lot going for it. And my original vision was to have somewhere to maybe come share this space with my husband and bring our little trailer from time to time. None of this was conducive to that. The slopes on the hill were too steep for the trailer. The condition was very poor. People have been off-roading for decades across this land, locals and stuff. So I knew it was going to be a little bit of a fight if I chose to. It's always been private property, but if I chose to start to put up no trespassing signs and even a fence, for a while, I needed to plan for the fence to get cut because, people would see it differently than I did as far as, restricting their access to this private property, which in all fairness didn't look like private property. It's surrounded by BLM and it's never been marked, so it's hard to know that it's been private property all along. So that was my first, impression. I rejected it, but I really love being here. And so I let it stew in my mind for months. And then one day I had an epiphany, and I'll share with you what that is. So you can see here, I'm standing at the bottom corner marker of the property. One of the first things I did when we bought the property was have it surveyed so that I knew exactly what was mine and what wasn't. But circling back to the epiphany that I had, I basically realized I was looking at this land through a traditional lens. That lens is, building a home, having electricity, a little place to come and stay, and blah, blah, blah. And the land was inexpensive, but it would take a lot of capital to get it anywhere close to being able to live here in a traditional sense with a house. And that's not to mention all the building permits and just working with the county and doing all of that stuff. Also, my husband wasn't 100% on board with coming up here. This is kind of my project, and he'll come, and there are beautiful places around here he does like to go, but having us come camping together or bring our little trailer here together as a primary motivator, I realized that wasn't going to do it. And that land that did have that kind of access right away was going to be out of my price range. So then I began to reevaluate the lens I looked at it, through which I looked at the land. I began to look at it more from I guess, natural point of view, you know. For me, you know, I love developing land sustainably. We've done it at Suburban Stone Age headquarters. And this was also a really unique lifetime opportunity to see if it was possible to be very good to the desert and also develop this sustainably on a shoestring budget. I don't have tons of money to throw at this place. So it's kind of that too, but there's no water, no power, no sewer, nothing. So, okay, you know, how do we make this work? When I looked at it through that lens, I realized the property has some advantages. And the biggest way to categorize that advantage is that this property has energy to it. And by energy, what I mean is it has gravity. So being on a hill means I have gravity to work with. It has solar power. Like this place is just bathed in sunlight most of the year. So that's an opportunity. There's wind energy. We get predictable daily winds at high speeds from a predictable direction. So that's a source of energy. And also, kind of the thing that sealed the deal for me is that this property is in its own little watershed. So it was a unique opportunity for me to try to green the desert using, you know, I don't have, the neighbors on that side are over that hill. You can't really see them. I have a neighbor on top of the hill. You can't see it either. And then the rest is just empty BLM land that surrounds me. This property is nestled in its own little drainage. And what a fantastic opportunity to see if I could manipulate the watershed in order to help this land be more sustainable and more productive in a way that fits in with the biome. I didn't want to rip it up and change everything, but with, you know, a few little changes, maybe I could encourage a little spring to show up or a little water hole to come and see what, you know, desert plants came to live there. So once I understood that this place didn't have a lot of traditional assets to it, but it did have non-traditional assets and a lot of natural energy that I could take advantage of, whether it be solar power, wind power, gravity for water systems, and a chance to experiment in a dedicated watershed, well, that changed my mind. And after about 4 months of contemplation, I decided to pull the trigger. Also, I would like to mention that the view is amazing. Although the view was absolutely rock bottom as far as a list of priorities, once I understood the other principles that were important to me, having such a gorgeous view was just icing on the cake. So there you have it. That's the conclusion I came to when selecting my land. My advice is, if you're interested in buying land in the desert, just be crystal clear if you can on exactly what you want. I thought I was. You know, I had this mindset of, you know, the trailer and bringing family and all this stuff. But as time went on, I really came to understand that my priorities were completely different. And once I realized what those were, it changed dramatically how I viewed the land and my future on it and the future of the land. So be crystal clear if you can. Contemplate what you're looking for. Contemplate, you know, what it means to you, what your plans for the future are when it comes to site selection. And then also, give it time. If you find a place that you like, the property around here anyway doesn't sell too fast. It's kind of a niche market and things stay on the market for a long time. So there's not time. Take your time in deciding what you want. If you find a place you like, just sit with it for a while and make sure that it is, think it through carefully, and just, before you spend any money, just make sure it's the fit for you. So that's my advice. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed this series on how to buy cheap, vacant California land in the desert, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more adventures, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.